It started like any other quiet Saturday morning in a suburban neighborhood in Michigan. The birds chirped, dogs barked, and neighbors mowed their lawns. But inside one particular house on Willow Lane, a storm was brewing. At around 8:30 a.m., Lisa Marshall realized something was terribly wrong. Her 14-year-old daughter, Emily, was nowhere to be found. Her bedroom door was ajar, the bed untouched, and the window was wide open. Her phone sat lifeless on her desk, as if it had been intentionally left behind. Lisa's heart sank. She screamed Emily's name, but the only reply was the hum of the air conditioner. Panic spread quickly. Within an hour, the entire neighborhood was canvassed. Friends, neighbors, and eventually the police joined in. Emily had vanished. There were no signs of a struggle, no sounds in the night. Just silence. The search intensified. Flyers were printed. Social media posts exploded. Amber alerts blared across every screen. News vans parked on lawns. But what no one realized, not even Emily's own family, was that she hadn't gone far. In fact, she hadn't even left the house. As days turned into weeks, the mystery deepened. Investigators tore through the Marshall home more than once. Sniffer dogs were brought in. Officers checked crawl spaces, the attic, closets, vents, any place a young girl could squeeze into. But they found nothing. The house was declared clear, and suspicion slowly began to creep in. Theories abounded. Had she run away? Been taken? Did someone close to her know more than they were saying? The media latched on. Headlines blared. Vanished without a trace. And where is Emily Marshall? Internet sleuths had a field day. Some blamed the parents. Others claimed it was an elaborate hoax. But the Marshalls were heartbroken, not deceptive. Lisa barely slept, and Emily's father, Tom, stopped going to work altogether. Their lives were frozen in that moment, the second their daughter disappeared. But let's rewind a little. Because while the world searched frantically, Emily was watching. Not from a screen or a distant town. No, Emily was watching from inside the walls of her own house. You see, Emily had a secret. A painful one. For years, she'd suffered in silence. Her seemingly perfect home life was anything but. Behind closed doors, her father's temper often erupted. Not with fists, but with words sharp, cold, and cutting. Her mother, though kind, seemed oblivious, always brushing it off as just stress or tough love. Emily tried to smile through it, to perform well in school, to avoid rocking the boat. But she was drowning. So one day, Emily made a plan. A terrifying, desperate plan. She remembered the old space behind her bedroom closet, an unfinished, narrow cavity in the wall with a small access panel. Her father had once stored holiday decorations there before they were moved to the garage. No one had gone in for years. It wasn't much, but it was hidden. It was quiet. It was safe. She packed a few granola bars, a water bottle, a flashlight, and her favorite blanket. She left her phone behind deliberately. She wanted people to think she was gone for good. Her hope wasn't to run away forever, but to escape, at least temporarily. To hide from the emotional suffocation. To see if the world noticed her absence. And they did. Emily slipped into the cavity in the wall just before dawn, her heart pounding louder than any noise she thought she might make. She stayed perfectly still as her mother frantically searched the room, called her name, and eventually sobbed on the floor. She wanted to scream, to run out and hold her, but she didn't. She couldn't. She had to see this through. The first 24 hours were terrifying. She barely moved. Every creak in the floorboard made her breath hitch. But by the second day, she started listening. Really listening. She heard her mother crying. She heard the police interviews. She heard her father whisper, "She'll come back. She always does." That chilled her. She'd never run away before. Why would he say that? Food was a problem. So was water. But late at night, when the house was dark and her parents had collapsed from exhaustion, Emily would quietly crawl out, creep into the kitchen like a ghost, and grab small supplies. She moved like a shadow. She even used the bathroom once or twice. Her parents never heard her. The house was big. Their sorrow was louder than her footsteps. By the end of the first week, Emily began doubting herself. Was this all a mistake? Had she gone too far? She'd watched her mother spiral into grief. She'd heard her little brother cry himself to sleep. But she'd also overheard her father yell at Lisa. He blamed her, called her careless, said cruel things. Emily's stomach twisted. This is why she hid. This is what she needed to escape, but she couldn't stay hidden forever. Then, on the 17th day, everything changed. It was early evening. Emily was tucked away in her hiding spot, curled in silence, when she heard a new voice. A man's. Calm. Measured. Lisa, I think we should search the house again. Thoroughly. People miss things. It was Detective Hernandez. He'd just taken over the case. Lisa protested at first. It's been searched a dozen times, she said. There's nothing here. But Hernandez insisted. He wasn't interested in surface checks. He wanted to knock on walls. He wanted to measure distances. He had a gut feeling, and he was right. It was around 10 p.m. when Emily heard them in her room. Flashlights scanned the closet. Hands tapped the walls. And then a pause. What's this? A voice asked. A scuff mark on the floor. A slightly loose panel. Then silence. Emily froze. Her breath caught. The panel creaked open. For the first time in nearly 3 weeks, Emily saw light. Gasps. Shouts. Her name. She shielded her eyes, blinked hard, and crawled forward. Lisa fell to her knees. Emily, she whispered, as if saying it too loud would make her disappear again. Tom stood frozen. Emily didn't move toward them. She looked at Detective Hernandez and simply said, I didn't run away. I was here. The whole time. The headlines the next morning were almost unbelievable. Missing girl found in her own home. She was hiding in the walls. The media swarmed once again. News vans returned. But this time, Emily was no longer a mystery. She was a miracle. And a wake-up call. In the following days, the truth began to unfold. Emily spoke with therapists. She told her story not just of hiding, but of why. Emotional abuse is invisible, but it's real. Her words sparked a conversation. People began asking deeper questions. How many children suffer silently? How many feel the need to vanish just to be heard? Lisa stood by her daughter. She filed for separation. She sought counseling. And for the first time, truly listened to Emily. Not just her words, but her silence. Her pain. Her bravery. Tom denied everything. He claimed Emily was manipulative, that she was troubled. But the community saw through it. They'd seen his public outbursts, his icy demeanor. He moved out within a month. Lisa filed a restraining order. Emily began healing, but healing isn't linear. Emily struggled. She had nightmares. She flinched at sudden noises. But she also smiled more. She went back to school. She started therapy. She even wrote a short story about a girl who disappeared to be seen and how she finally was. Years later, Emily spoke at a youth mental health conference. She shared her story not as a victim, but as a survivor. Her message was simple. Just because you don't see the bruises doesn't mean the pain isn't there. And sometimes, the loudest cries are the ones made in silence. The story of Emily Marshall remains one of the most haunting and powerful cases of recent years. Not because she was lost, but because she was so close, so heartbreakingly close, and yet unseen. She became a symbol, not of disappearance, but of discovery, of resilience, of the desperate human need to be noticed, to be heard, and above all, to be loved. So next time you hear about a missing child, don't just look out your window. Look within your walls, both literal and emotional. Because sometimes, the person you think is lost is right there, just waiting for someone to care enough to find them.